have some political coverage for you now. Amazon is accusing President Trump of abusing his position to apply improper pressure on Pentagon decision makers to stop Amazon from winning a military contract worth billions. A formal complaint says Trump launched repeated public and behind-the-scenes attacks against Amazon to try to undermine its bid and hurt CEO Jeff Bezos. The complaint calls for the Defense Department to revisit its decision to award the $10 billion cloud computing contract to Microsoft. A Pentagon spokeswoman said an expert team decided which company to select for the contract, and there were no external influences.
The Justice Department's Inspector General says the FBI was justified in investigating the Trump campaign and Russia in 2016. The IG released its 435-page report on the investigation today. He found the FBI properly opened its probe into Russian election interference, but rebuted President Trump's claim that the FBI illegally spied on his campaign. But the IG did find major errors in how the agency conducted its investigation. The report criticized how the FBI dealt with Trump campaign advisor Carter Page.
Looking at national news now, NASA is getting closer to lifting off a rocket that will once again send American astronauts to the moon, but it will come at a cost. A high cost. The space agency anticipates each launch of the Space Launch System could cost as much as $1.6 billion. Today, NASA said negotiations over a price are still happening with Boeing. If NASA buys more than one rocket, the price for each could drop to about $800 million. The launch vehicle is finally ready for testing, but the project had delays during its decade in production. The Trump administration wants astronauts to go back to the moon by 2024.
Well, turning to news from around the world now. In an unprecedented decision in global sports, Russia has been banned from hosting and competing in major international sporting events for 4 years. The World Anti-Doping Agency handed down the suspension earlier today. The decision comes as a result of Russia's anti-doping agency being ruled non-compliant with the International Anti-Doping Code in what has been described by the agency as Russia's decision to continue its stance of deception and denial. Now, this all means that Russian athletes cannot compete in next year's Olympics in Tokyo under the Russian flag and the next Soccer World Cup in Qatar. Russia will appeal that sentence.
At least 5 people have died following the eruption of an active volcano on White Island in New Zealand. Police say 18 others were also rescued from the island today. Some of them suffered injuries, including severe burns. Police added it was safe to say the number of people still on the island was in the double digits. Rescuers are currently not able to access the island as it's too dangerous.
And we have some consumer news for you tonight. It may be time to bid farewell to Apple's Lightning charging cable. Analysts say the company could get rid of the charging cable and port on premium models starting in 2021. That means your new iPhone would require a wireless charging dock, which Apple already makes for its later model phones. If the company does end up getting rid of the charging port and cable, that would join the long list of other things Apple has nixed in its history, from the floppy disk drive back in 1998 to the most recent USB port and headphone jack. Now, Apple hasn't confirmed this speculation as of now.
If you plan on seeing the new Star Wars movie coming out soon, here's a warning for you. Walt Disney Studios says Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker could trigger seizures in people with photosensitivity. Disney issued a statement with the Epilepsy Foundation warning viewers that several scenes include imagery and sustained flashing lights. The foundation says certain flashing lights can trigger seizures in about 3% of people with epilepsy. The Rise of Skywalker hits the big screen on December 20th.
Well, Santa is going to be pretty busy here in the next few weeks, but he took a break from the toy shop earlier today to blow off some steam on the slopes.
We'll show you how in just a few minutes.